Hello everyone and welcome to the L.T.L Tutoring Central video series. My name is Ron, and as you can see behind me, which side? This side, the sun is shining, so we're in the middle of summer. And today's topic is about avoiding summer learning loss. A lot of students after the long holiday go back to school in September, and they find that they've forgotten an awful lot of what they had learned last year, and they haven't made any gains either because they've done nothing all summer long. Now, you don't have to work all through the summer. You can go to the beach, you can go to the parks, you can do all of the fun things that you normally would do, but you can also keep learning. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's different ways you can learn. You can learn much differently than you do in school. First of all, you can choose the types of activities and the types of learning that you want to get involved in. So what are some of the things you can do to help retain some of the lessons that you learned in school and maybe even gain some ground before you get back in September? At least keep those brain cells working throughout those hot summer days. Well, the most obvious probably is read. Reading is so effective because you can read on any topic and you can learn new material at pretty much any time. You can obviously take a book with you to the beach. You can take a book to bed. You can read almost anywhere. You can take your Kobo or your Kindle. You can download a lot of free books. A lot of classic books are free to download onto your Kindle or your Kobo or your computer. And you can read blogs, of course, on your iPad or your tablet or your computer. And you can pick a top. You can read magazines too. It doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be long. So read as much as you can and find things that interest you, find things that you enjoy, and try to broaden your horizons as much as you can. Sometimes some students tell me there's absolutely nothing they want to read about. But if there's something that you are interested in, it could be skateboarding, it could be dance, it could be some sport, soccer, football, baseball. It could be a craft of some kind, putting together model airplanes or, I don't know, scrapbooking or anything really. Find some blogs, find some magazines, find some articles about your own interests. Normally, people have some interest in something. And as you're reading, as you're learning, try to broaden your horizon. So when you're reading articles about a particular sport, you might find out that a sports hero of yours also enjoys science fiction or also enjoys books that have a historical plot. It might be fiction, but it has a historical plot. Maybe you'll try one of those, see if you like it as well. But you can sort of use a starting point to broaden your horizons and learn even more. But of course, beyond reading, you can also write. Now, you could write about the things that you're reading. That's very good. But you can also just write on topics that interest you. Perhaps you enjoy cooking. You could start up a cooking blog on the computer. Or you could simply write in a journal of your own at home in a book. Or you can use the computer for that as well. But it doesn't have to be. You can have just paper in a binder, and every day you write something down so that you're accessing and you're practicing your writing all the time. And if you enjoy cooking, if you enjoy carpentry, if you enjoy building things, you can practice your math skills as well, because there's often a lot of math involved if you're doubling or tripling a recipe, for example, or if you're measuring to, build birdhouses or something like this. Then you can practice those types of things. If you're a parent, you can help your children by asking them questions about movies they've watched or books they've read, stories, magazine articles, any of the things that they're doing during the day. You can ask them about, and try to ask open questions, not closed questions. Closed questions are the type that can be answered basically with a yes or no answer. So you want to avoid those because, especially as the children get a little older, that's about all you get is yep, nope, yep, nope. So you want to open it up as much as you can and try to encourage them to open up. Try to listen as well. That's also really important because sometimes A young person is going to say something that is very illogical, that is very bizarre, but learn to enjoy that and learn to engage with it, but not necessarily shut it down and say, well, that's ridiculous, that doesn't make sense. Talk about it, and often you'll find that they will come to recognize the flaws in that argument or that logic over time. It might not happen during this discussion. It may happen weeks or months down the road, but at some point, the more they think about it too, and you put your ideas in, but without closing the door, without shutting them off. So you want to keep it open, keep the conversation going. It's okay to say, I don't think you're completely right about that, but you don't want to slam the door shut and say, because then they're not going to be willing to discuss complex ideas with you again. They're not going to open up to you if you keep closing it down. So keep it open, open questions. You know, what were your feelings about the character when this incident happened? That's not a yes or no. They can't just say yes or no to that. They need to say something about that. What do you think the main character, the protagonist in the book, should have done when the antagonist said something or did something? They have to say, well, they have to explain what do they think the protagonist should do. So reading and writing. If you're a parent, if your parent asks these kinds of open questions, have a discussion, listen, get engaged with what the child is thinking. Visit some local attractions and sites. Many of them are free. Museums, some of them you pay a little, but they're generally very reasonably priced. You can go to, obviously, you can go to parks, you can go to the beach, but at every occasion, there's usually something around that local area that you can learn about. You can learn about the history of your own town. Where did the name come from? When was it first established? Who discovered it? These kinds of things. You can go to the library. The library has lots of information of local interest, usually, and you can do some research there as well. Rather than just sitting in front of a computer all day, go out, look, check out some books, talk to some people, find out some information in other ways, and learn yourself. That's the best thing. We're all learners anyway. We're all teachers. We're all learners. That's what I always say. And so if we're learning together, it's much better for both of us. We'll retain it more. We'll enjoy it more. It's much more enjoyable to learn with somebody else, and often a young person can teach us something. They've read something that we have either never known or that we've forgotten, and it makes them feel good to be able to help you and to be able to teach you something as well. And by modeling learning, by modeling how to learn and how to be engaged and interested in the world around you, that's important. So whether you're reading or writing or watching movies or whatever you're doing, the context is important. You don't want to just read blindly, which doesn't, on the surface of it, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make literal sense. But what I mean by reading blindly is you're reading the words, but you're not understanding what you're reading. You're not getting anything out of it. So having these conversations and discussions can help with the context. But also on your own, if you're reading something, stop and think, what have I just read? What can I take from this? How does that network with my foundation of knowledge already, and build upon that, building that web of knowledge. And that's what you want to do. You want to make as many connections as you can, and as an adult you can help the child to make those connections between reading and math and writing, and whether it's history or geography. You don't have to call them these subjects, but if you're traveling, you're learning about geography, and you can be stopping at certain points of interest and learning about history of the area. You don't have to call it history. It's just interesting to know what people did at a particular point in time and how people used to live. Young people are incredibly interested in how things used to be. They're so interested in what used to be and what wasn't around at that time. They're very, very interested in that. So they're open to learning as long as you are open to helping them and listening to them, and don't shut them down. So there's just a few tips, but I would recommend keep learning, and you can do a little academic learning as well during the summertime. A couple of hours a week can really keep you on top of your game, can help you gain some ground and be a little bit ahead when you go back in September. So if you want me to set up a program for you or your child or your children, let me know. The website will be below. There'll be a link to the blog below as well, possibly some other links. So get in touch. It's www.tutoringcentral.com. My name again is Ron with L.T.L. Tutoring Central, and that's it for this week. So enjoy learning and keep learning, and I will be talking to you soon. Bye for now.